One of the most interesting basketball shoes I've ever personally played in, and this video is going to be a lot, so I hope that you're ready. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look, breakdown, and performance review on Xero Shoes bringing a barefoot basketball shoe to the market. It's the first of its kind, technically. There is one other basketball shoe that is a barefoot style or minimalist style of basketball shoe, and it was made by the Uncivilized brand. However, the Xero Shoes is touted as being the first with a zero drop. In case you don't know what that means, that just means that the heel lift is not different than the forefoot lift, so you're fully flat. I believe the Uncivilized shoe, there was about a 1 millimeter drop or a lift, which is standard. Not that the number is standard, just that there is a heel to toe drop. That's standard in footwear, typically. But with barefoot shoes, it's completely different. Now, a few things off the top, first of which, I've been playing in these shoes for a little while now, but the B-roll that you will see is going to be a mix between in-studio, brand new dead stock shoe B-roll, and it'll also be a mix between just some people having fun on a basketball court. I took my kids out as their break and everything like that, so not just my son, but the kids that we coach, not all of them, but some of them, the ones that have turned into family. We like to do a thing that we call a 3v1, where it's me playing against them three, and so far I've never lost. The thing that I love about it is that it teaches them to really see the open man and pass the ball, because there's only one defender. Tunnel vision is a real thing, and with these kids you want to teach them to make the proper quick pass and do it fast before the defense can react. But it also keeps my old ass in shape, because I'm running around and trying to keep up with 3 kids that are spaced out on the floor. So yeah, go me. One thing that's really interesting though is that while wearing these barefoot shoes, like I've only worn basketball shoes or I should say like the majority of my life, especially my entire basketball life has been nothing but basketball shoes. But I didn't hate these. Like, these are a weird kind of sneaker, and yeah, I think that some of you guys might like this. I think that some of you guys definitely won't. It might be a little bit too different for some people, but I think that what they've done here is very interesting, and I've been studying this whole like barefoot movement for a while, and I think that there's some real benefits to it. I do think that there are some drawbacks. It just really depends on what it is that you're looking for out of not just your footwear, but your overall foot health. Now, before we fully deep dive into these things, they do come in this box just in case you're curious. I know that some people love boxes. I know that some people don't give two shits about them, but we're here to cover as many bases as possible. So they do come in this box. It's got their logos all over it. It's kind of a cool logo because it's got the foot thing in there. If you think the toes are cool, there you go. They do have 2 styles of footwear. The one that I obviously played in that I prefer most are lows, so that's what I went with, but they do have a full-on mid for anybody that wants that type of feeling around their ankle and everything like that. Now, as far as traction is concerned, it's herringbone and it's done up in a way that is radial, at least in the forefoot. The one thing though is that the rubber itself, while being really good and grippy, it's also very flat, and man, it attracts dust. The floor that we were playing on for the B-roll was probably one of the worst floors that I play in, and that doesn't matter with most of my shoes. It's only select shoes. So I think I was talking about this with the Harden Volume 9s, but that specific court is like this weird vinyl, and for whatever reason, the Harden Volume 9 doesn't want to stick to it. I don't have any other problems with that shoe in any other place but that floor. And that's also something to keep in mind when we're talking about performance reviews or just reviews in general. My experience might not be the same as yours because we're not in the same place. There's lots of different variables, much like with foot health in general, where there could be moisture, all kinds of weird, you know what I mean? So just the environment is a little bit different, and the floor is no different from that. But either way, the traction here was actually not half bad. In fact, it was pretty damn good. I do wonder if it's because you are so close to the floor, so like your center of gravity and stuff like that is just like really compact onto this instead of being elevated like you are in most shoes. But either way, it was a good solid setup. Would I wear this outdoors? If you are a barefoot enthusiast or like one of those people that are really hardcore into this, they're gonna tell you yes. If you live in the Philippines, they do that all day long. They actually don't even wear shoes. They hoop barefoot. Literally. So for something like that to be possible, like obviously your foot is a really big tool in your body and stuff like that, and this is just supposed to protect it a little bit. So while I wouldn't wear this outdoors, you definitely could, as long as your body is capable or built up for that. One thing I didn't like though is that the rubber is ultra tacky, so while that's good for grip, it's also bad when it comes to dust. So mine are just caked with dust. I would have to wipe periodically just to keep them kind of like grippy feeling. Also, the pattern itself is flat, so I think that might have something to do with it just a little bit. And my one real big critique is just the break here, the flex zone. While it's great for flexibility and forefoot mobility, that foam is in contact with the ground, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel as grippy as the rubber. So for someone like me, I can notice that. So it's odd because we played in shoes that are full foam on the bottom, like the Flotro stuff from the Curry brand, and that works great. But for whatever reason, this foam, not so much. So I do wish that that was like set back a little bit so it wasn't coming in contact with the ground as much, but then you would have a little bit more of an elevated feel where they're really trying to go barefoot all day. But all in all, the traction, I would say, was solid. Now the cushion, that's probably gonna be everybody's #1 question is like, what's the cushion like? Think about this for 1 second. It's a barefoot shoe. There is none, man. Like, it's fucking weird. Did I hate it? Surprisingly, no. I've said this before and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, but when you have a fat ass slab of foam and that foam is kind of firm, it feels like you're wearing a brick. Even if that foam is super lightweight, even if it's contoured and made in a way that makes you feel like it's like really rocking you forward, it's gonna feel awful on foot. So a shoe that has very minimal cushion that I thought felt great, that actually taught me all of this stuff and really pushed me to deep dive into certain things, was the Curry 4. That shoe is super minimal, and while you're not on the floor, the EVA slab that's in there is mad thin, like you're damn near on nothing. And they were mad comfortable. You just felt like you were flying up and down the basketball court. That's kind of how these feel. It's weird. For a shoe with no cushion, you would think that your legs would be tired, that they'd be fatigued, that your knees would be getting rocked or jolted. None of that stuff. This is a shoe that really promotes like natural everything. And again, your body is built for movement. Like when we're born, what are we born with? Not a damn thing. And we were also born to do like hunt, gather, run, jump, all of that stuff. And way back in the day, we were doing that buck ass naked. So your feet can handle it. It's just that we babied our feet over the centuries for good reason. You don't want to step in rock, lava, sticks, twigs, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what's that show called?
Naked and Afraid?
Naked and Afraid, man. Those people teach you real quick, like, this sucks. So I know why we have footwear. It's just that, do you need all the footwear or all the stuff in footwear? Surprisingly, the answer is no. Now, am I saying that you're going to go from your favorite basketball shoe with a great eTPU or Pebax cushioning system to this, and you're going to be like, oh, this is awesome. This is some next level. No, you got to work up to this. Trust me. So you don't want to just jump from one thing or from one extreme to the next. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go from max cushion to no cushion. That might be jarring, but you do want to ease into it. So something like this would be great for workouts. And if you're going to a gym, if you happen to lift or deadlift, you want something like this. You want to be able to feel the ground and feel stable. Make sure that your feet can splay. If you do light jogging or running, do it in these, and then move to the basketball court and get your jump shots in and a little bit of cardio and stuff. Am I saying to wear this during a full season? No. Am I going to wear this for a full season? No. I'm going to stick with my basketball shoes because it's what I'm comfortable in. But I'm not saying that this is a bad option. This is one of those shoes that was very interesting. It was damn near eye-opening, and I thought it was really kind of cool. So again, impact protection, cushion, non-existent. You're relying on your body's natural ability to do those things for you. And if your body isn't built up enough to be able to do that stuff and be able to handle it on its own, they do come with a little tiny insole or a little thin insole, you know what I mean? So you get a little bit of something. If you don't want this and you want to go full barefoot experience, you just take this out, and there's still a liner in there so you can wear them without that stuff. You know what I mean? It just really depends on what you want to do. For those of you guys wondering, can I just take out the stock insole and put in something else like a move insole or whatever and stuff like that with like an arch plate? Yes, you can, but that also kind of negates what they're teaching, is that this barefoot movement is all about rebuilding the foot's and the body's natural ability to do everything on its own, like we used to way back in the day, centuries ago. So they claim that arch support is bad. You want to be able to have your arch built up its own support. They claim that having heel counters is bad. They want you to be able to just naturally be able to do this stuff and rely on your body only. And again, you can't just jump into the deep end, you know what I mean? You gotta ease into it a little bit. Now the upper and the last is very interesting because I said this earlier, but this is a foot-shaped shoe, not a shoe-shaped shoe. I was wearing one of my favorite basketball shoes to play in. So I wore one on each foot. I wore the Sabrinas and I wore these. And one thing that I noticed is that I personally do prefer the heel to toe drop. I don't want the stack height to be too crazy. So I do want to still be on the floor, which the Sabrinas provide, but I like that feeling of like already being on your toes. But all I know is that having one on each foot, really, I was like, okay, I like this, but the upper on these and the fit, surprisingly, is great. My main concern with a barefoot style shoe or a foot shaped shoe when it comes to basketball is lateral movement within the sneaker itself. And with a shoe like this, I just thought that like, I don't want all that room. And while that might be true, this feels good. That's just plain and simple, like it felt good. Going from this shoe back to my Sabrinas, I felt a bunion forming instantly. Like, it was weird. And again, I love the Sabrina 2s. I'm just saying that the shape needs to be fixed. It doesn't need to be this drastic. It just needs to be a little bit more accommodating. But if you like toe splaying and things like that, a shoe like this is going to be awesome. If you're a wide footer, something like this would be awesome. And despite my concerns, there was no lateral shifting or anything like that. I was still able to do everything that I normally do. I'm just doing it in a sneaker that's kind of weird. So yeah, did I like the 4-foot fit? Yes, I did. Do I prefer something like this? I think it's too soon to tell. This is my first real experience in something like this. All I'll say is that if this was an option in more basketball sneakers, I would definitely be more inclined to try something like that more often. Like if there was more of the stuff that I love, you know what I mean? Like that slight heel to toe drop, a little bit of cushion, a heel counter, but this wide toe. That might be cool. They've got little things right here, this little rubber piece. It's kind of like a little V. That's there for additional support just in case, because these materials are light. They're all textiles and synthetics and stuff like that. Nothing different than modern basketball shoes today, but when you add in the wider toe box, the fact that you're sitting on the floor, you got no cushion, all that stuff, it just sounds sketchy, you know what I mean? But it's not. It was actually really fucking comfortable. I can't even tell you how comfortable it was because it's not the comfort that you think. This is the weirdest fucking shoe I've ever played basketball in. That should be the tagline. The weirdest fucking shoe you ever play basketball in, right here. So yeah, all the stuff that like we're told that we need, like, do you actually? Now, as far as sizing is concerned, I would go true to size for most people. Wide footers, you will be able to go true to size because these are shaped like feet, not like sneakers. But yeah, true to size for most, you should be good to go. Again, I thought that these were just kind of, honestly, they're fun. They're ugly as fuck, but like, they were fun to play in. Now, with all that being said, do we happen to have time for a question of the day? I know this is kind of a longer video.
I don't know if this was actually a question of the day, but I feel like it was a good one to cover. Do you have a release day calendar for your videos? Lately, I've been surprised for your videos on weekends, but bummed down when there is no weekday release.
That is due to school scheduling. We have kids. Sometimes we have lots of them. So yeah, not only do we have kids that go to school, but I also coach. So like my schedule revolves around all of that stuff. And so sometimes we're really like on it. I feel like honestly we haven't recovered from All-Star Weekend and me being sick because that really messed everything up. I'm still trying to catch up. There's so much stuff here that we haven't even done a video yet, but like we want to, you know what I mean? So hopefully we get to it. But yeah, we try to stay within Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday upload. Wednesdays were performance reviews. Obviously those aren't every Wednesday, but that's typically the schedule. So if you're seeing any weirdness with the uploads, it's simply not our schedule. it's what we can do at that moment. I hope that doesn't annoy anybody. I do know that because like I get messages and stuff being like, dude, I really look forward to like, or if there is no video on a Wednesday, like if we don't got a performance review, like people be like, yo, Wednesdays suck, you know what I mean? And I feel bad, like I really do, because I want to be as consistent as possible and I'm really trying, but sometimes life throws. But anyways, with all that being said, if you've tried out Barefoot shoes, not just the Xero ones, but just Barefoot shoes in general, let people know what you think about them. Let them know what you've learned about them and about your own foot, your own body, your own anatomy. These, again, were fun to play in. So if you wanted to try in these, ease into it. Don't just go full swing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We greatly appreciate you guys spending your time with us. We will catch you guys in the next one. So until then, y'all have a good one.